And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Heat Factory. That's what we have. Yesterday afternoon, I believe it was yesterday, 83 degrees and felt like 97 with the humidity. Humidity is thick. If you got stuff to do it earlier in the day, it's not going to be quite as bad today. I looked at the forecast about 3 o'clock this afternoon. Should be around 82 or 3, feels like around 90, which is anything over 90. I don't think you can tell a whole lot of difference, but that's just me. Glad to have you along with us here this morning. I got 71 degrees. Yesterday it looked like it was going to rain all day. Sunday was the same way. It looked like it was going to rain all day, but it didn't happen. But today might be a little prettier day, not quite as overcast. We're glad to have you with us here on the Bottom Line on a Tuesday. Of course, bad news for the ACC last night. State got eliminated in the World Series, but they've had a nice run, and I don't think there was anybody that really anticipated them being in the World Series.
It's kind of like Florida State.
Yeah.
You just didn't feel like they were going to be able to make it, and, of course, they had a great year. And Link Jarrett's head coach at Florida State. He's the assistant coach at East Carolina. He played at Florida State for Mike Martin, so glad he got that job and glad that he's got them back to where they need to be, because last year they missed the playoffs for the first time in like 20-some years. I say the playoffs, the regionals, okay? And it's a lot going on.
Yeah, but, here's the thing. What's happening now is we had all these ACC teams in it, but now they're all knocking each other out as they go through, because I want to say everybody is in the all the ACC teams. Are they not in the losers bracket now? It's win or go home?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think Carolina
plays tonight or this afternoon.
Yeah, Virginia.
Florida State. No,
Carolina
plays Florida State today.
Yeah. And, they don't pair them up like ACC versus SEC, right? They do it by rankings, and that's the way
reseed them. Yeah.
And it's, I like the format in the pool play better than I like just double elimination all the way through. And you say, well, yeah, but it is double. It is, but the way they set it up is so much better, because what they do is they get to the final two and they play 2 out of 3. And they
get in there from 2 different brackets.
Right, from pool play to 2 different, which is good. That's a lot better than
I'm okay with that.
8 and just going through it, right?
Yep.
So it makes it a little more entertaining. You can do one day this bracket, next day this bracket, and then you can kind of, the 2 elimination games and the 2 winners. I mean, it's a good way to do it.
I'm gonna tell you what. I want to say, doesn't Honeycutt hit first?
Yeah.
And he could do anything to that pitcher from Tennessee on Sunday.
Yeah, not many people will.
Yeah, he's pretty dang good. That
kid's on a path to the majors, pretty quick. When he takes that jump. And what's interesting is I heard a lot of like Ben McDonald and the announcers there, and I don't know if it's Ben. It may have been the other one. That there's 3 of them that always are on there. And they're very good, and they have a lot of good points. But they said, kids just need to play baseball in the summer, and then, go play football, soccer, basketball, wrestling, all this. I don't disagree that kids need to play as much as they can play and have as much fun as they can have. But all of those people that are saying that have achieved a level of greatness, right? And so if you are aspiring to that, it's hard to do everything and kind of be the master of all, just really good at all things and not the master at one like they were. And they're anomalies. And what people have to hear in that message is, and it's hard for people to hear, is look, the chances of you getting to where we were are slim to very slim. Not none, but slim to very slim. You really need to try to play as much as you can play. And if you're exceptional, keep building on it.
But that'll get identified kind of early.
Yes, in a lot of cases it does. And it kind of has a flip effect where you can think back to when you were in rec league, or I was there when there were kids that were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old that were really, really good. And then all of a sudden everybody's 14 years old and they start playing it out because everybody's caught up with them, right? To your point, young age, 12, 13, 14, you can really see the difference in somebody that is next level and then somebody that's trying to get there every
But by
day.
the time you reach high school, okay, sophomore, junior year, you're going to pretty well know if you really have a shot to be competitive at the next level, and whether you need to work on those skills or do all that you can do, because when you got out of high school, you're done.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the kid that pitched for Carolina played at Cherville.
Pence.
They said, when he's a sophomore, he was okay.
Mm-hmm.
He's working hard and trying to be better, but, he didn't go play, all over the world. He just, played Legion ball in the summer and, tried to get better than, his junior year. I don't think he played Legion. His senior year, I think, is when COVID hit or vice versa, whatever it was. And, so the developmental process, is different for everyone. So it's not like if you don't get into something when you're 9 or 10 years old, you're going to get left behind.
Right.
That's not necessarily true. So, there's a lot. In the College World Series players, there's some things you go in and read about them and read about what they've done. A lot of them were 2 and 3 sport athletes. Some were just 1. A lot of the pitchers were 2 and 3 sport athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And, several position players, too, like your center fielders and shortstop and second baseman, third baseman, a couple of first basemen, played football, things like that. But, you really get to the point where it's like, you see why they are where they are. And it's just been good baseball.
This is once the World Series was set, it's an SEC, ACC series.
It was.
Okay, so here's what's happening. Yeah. Because NC State got eliminated, they were the only ACC team in bracket 2.
Right.
So when they got eliminated last night, that was it. Yeah. So what's happening now is today Carolina will play at 1 o'clock. Okay, they'll play at 1 o'clock, ESPN. They'll play Florida State, so there's an ACC matchup. And then at 6 o'clock, it's Kentucky and Florida. Winner moves on. Texas A&M is still on the winner's side, and they'll play at Wednesday at 6. So here's what's happening. Right now, since State got eliminated, SEC is going to the World Series championship game. One team is. At least one.
Yeah.
And if Carolina loses today, you're going to have Florida State that moves on, but they've still got to kind of make it there. So it could be tough. It could be tough, but I've enjoyed a lot. I think it was Sunday's game that I was really disturbed because of how much the umpires got involved, and not from bad calls, but just controlling the game and
yes,
hurting the flow of the game over stupid stuff.
And this is the problem. Players have got to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff with slinging the bats everywhere and let's go and all. I mean, look, this is. It's getting to the point where it's becoming more about you and your celebration than what it's intended for. Now, who do I blame for that? I blame the parents. I blame baseball. I blame, whoever allows that to go on. We're to the point where there has to be so many rules and regulations put in place because people just won't do their job. It's like someone saying, well, I've worked really, really hard. You're supposed to do that. You don't get a trophy for working hard. Okay? You don't get a trophy because you do your job. You may get a trophy as a result of you doing your job, but everything is an instant celebration. I mean, we have kindergarten graduations, and we have 8th grade graduations, and we have this and that. I mean, there's no we're almost becoming numb to actual success/achievement.
That's because every success that should be happening in your progression of growing up is now rewarded at every stop.
Yeah, it's celebrated. Yeah. I mean, the amount of,
and not taking anything away from anybody, but I just think, it's a little too much for me.
It's way too much. We're getting numb to things that actually matter because they're overshadowed by stuff that doesn't. Mm-hmm. When Garrett graduated from preschool, they had a nice little celebration and all this stuff, but I mean, they put him in caps and gowns, and that's more because it's cute and this and that and the other, instead of saying, "Hey, look, you have a nice ceremony for them. Look, they achieved these levels in preschool. You know, and I'm not talking about daycare. I'm talking about actual preschool, like, you know, where they're doing things, right? You know, they achieve these levels. Let's talk about each kid. Like, let's, you know, and have it intimately within your, you know, your little group. Oh, God, no, we had people fighting in a church about where to sit and saving seats, and you can't do that, and you can't do this, and this is, you know.
That's high school graduations, too.
It was insane. You know, it's almost ridiculous, borderline ridiculous.
I'm going to tell you something that CVCC started something 2 or 3 years ago with their graduation, and it was a result of COVID. But it's something they've stayed with that is amazing when it comes to graduation, so you don't have those kind of problems. Don't know if you've seen this, but here's what they do. You have a set time that your major, whatever you want to call it, is graduating, okay? You get in line with the folks that come to see you graduate, and when you get up to the front of the line, the podium to go up on stage, you go up on stage, all your people walk out in front of where you're getting your stuff, take your pictures, do everything you want, go out the other side. They've got some nice little scenes set up that you could take the pictures and then move on. So there, you can do what you want to, okay? Awesome. You can do what you want to, and nobody's going to interfere, and no, you know, you don't have to worry about everybody getting a good seat to see it. It's done, to me, I think it's a more intimate moment to celebrate that.
And
that
you don't have to listen
occasion.
to the same speech every year.
That's correct.
You know, this is the best days of our lives. We got to go out and seize the moment. You know, I'm proud of this person. I, you know, love this person. I got to do, you know, all that is traditional and wonderful. But it's like wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yep.
There's very rarely are there any graduation speeches that are unique to their own. Now, I'm not blaming kids. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm saying, you know, it's just it's a traditional ceremony, and I got to tell you, I think a lot of people like that, and that's okay. We had very good speakers this year at graduation. I really enjoyed that part. Last year was really good. The year before, I mean, the kids were really, really good in what they did. You know, there's just got to be better. I don't know, man. You know, graduation in high school is a big deal, or what? Yeah, big deal. All this other stuff, though, you know, 8th grade graduation. I mean, what are we talking about?
I know.
Womp, 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 womp.
Well,
I mean, the 8th grade.
Let me. I'll get just gently on my soapbox because I'll step on some local toes here. Okay, I will. This is something that has been celebrated in this town forever, and since I'm not here, even though I've lived here 22 years, still not a fan because I didn't like the way that it was done. Okay. What was when the elementary school would have its March for Success.
Oh, yeah.
To the high school.
Oh, yeah.
Big deal. You shut down town, the whole 9 yards.
Absolutely.
The part that used to get me aggravated was those kids weren't going to the high school in their next step. If you're going to march for success, you need to march down to the next place that you're going.
Oh, you're talking about go to the middle school first.
Not the high school. Why are you going to the high school? You're not going to the high school.
Yeah.
And so I'll be completely transparent here. I never participated, even with my 2 kids that came through, because I didn't think it was sending the right message to me. I mean, everybody loves it and everybody talks about it, and that's great. That's on you.
Really
that's
good.
on you. And going back to what we were talking about with graduation, I wouldn't mind seeing high school graduations go like they do at CVCC, because the other thing that you can do for your hooping and hollering that they started here, again, there were some good things that came out of COVID. The parade they do. You know, the senior parade.
Yeah, it's cool.
And that way everybody's outside. You can hoop and holler and do what you want to, and then let them go through the ceremony with the pictures and all that kind of stuff, because I just think that's more meaningful and more personal.
Yeah,
because the
more intimate, right?
The other 3,000 people that's watching don't care about your kid.
I mean,
okay? You only care about your kid.
Right.
So I just think that's a good thing. And I do know this, that one of the things that Maiden has went back to the stadium for graduation, and when graduation is over, you go down to the soccer field and there's different areas and you can gather and take pictures. You know, so there's some good things that are doing, but that tells you there that that's meant to be more personal and intimate.
Right.
You know, they're giving you an opportunity to do that. Okay, we're a long way from sports, so I'm going to go back. Boston Celtics last night, They won the NBA championship. Any comments there, G?
So I just read this. ESPN has been very difficult to get into this morning. Boston wins 106-88. And it's their 18th NBA Finals that they've won.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Well, you go back to Red Auerbach days,
And then Bird.
Bill Russell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bill Russell and Red Auerbach, it's arguably one of the greatest.
Yes, on the pro level.
Yeah, right. And then, really in all sports, and you do the Wooden, UCLA, and, of course, you got, Manchester United soccer-wise.
Yeah.
And, we go on and on and on. The Big Red Machine, all these things.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think you really saw the difference between great players and a really good team.
Yes.
And there were some great players.
The Celtics were expected to do this last year.
There's great players on both sides. But Dallas has got a couple really, really good players. And the Celtics have a great chemistry within their team. They don't have one person or two people just put them on their back. They can do multiple facets and multiple levels. And Brad Stevens.
Yeah. When they moved him to GM off coach, everybody thought they were crazy. No.
He's
the John Lynch of NBA.
Let me tell you something. You know who I think and this is crazy, but I think he's a lot like Coach K and Dean Smith morphed into one, with a little bit of Roy kicked in there, okay? His ability to be able to see 2 and 3 years down the road based off of player development, or lack thereof, and putting pieces in the right place. When he did what he did at Butler and they lost by a couple points or 1 point or whatever it was against Duke for 2 years in a row at Butler before NIL, man, that guy didn't have any money to get those kids.
And the other thing about him, he's only 47 years old.
That's what I'm saying. This is one, and he started this in his 30s, okay? This is one of those where he is able to see things before they happen. His ability to predict and to play scenarios through before they come to fruition, this is it's called autosuggestion. All right? It's one of the 13 core principles to success. When you're able to do that and tell yourself, I'm going to be able to do this based off of this, and this. I can do, and you see it happening before it happens. This is a great example of why he is.
Oh yeah,
and he could end up being one of the greatest GMs.
Check out a
Theo
couple
Epstein.
of these records that he has. Okay, his first year at Butler, they went 30 wins, becoming the third youngest head coach in Division I history to have a 30-win season. In 2010, his third year as a head coach, he broke the NCAA record for the most wins in a coach's first 3 years, exceeding the previous record by 8 wins. Took Butler to their first Final Four, while also becoming the second youngest head coach to make an NCAA national championship game. Lost to Duke by 2. By 2. The next year, made the Final Four, became the youngest coach to go to 2 Final Fours. And then in their second consecutive national championship game, the team lost again to UConn. But, this is a guy, and they signed him to coaching, and then he decided he wanted to be, the executive over basketball operations. And what he's put together there is unbelievable. G, I don't know if you may keep up with the NBA more than I do. I know some of the high points, but this is a surprise because the East is not nearly as strong as the Western teams.
Oh, no.
But Boston was expected to do this, and they're already the clear-cut favorite for next year.
Well, think about this, too. And G and I actually talked about this a couple of weeks ago with LeBron. And they have all the big names in the West. I say the big names, that the media focuses on.
The guys that even if you don't follow the sport, you would still know.
Right. Because the way the media is.
Because the way that the media is.
Right. Well, that's not the case, when it comes to being a team.
Mm-hmm.
And people are pulling for individual players now because of fantasy leagues and all the like or whatever. I just really think they're going to go back to pulling for teams again instead of individual players.
Well,
I think that's coming in because people are getting sick of the bounce around.
Yeah.
Think back.
Yeah, but as part of that, forget about the bounce around. But a lot of people follow individual players. I do in any sport because I admire their game. I admire their commitment. You know what I'm saying? And here again, I admire the player that stays instead of bouncing around.
That's commitment that I look at. But that doesn't mean that they should not have the ability to seek opportunity.
Sure.
It's like moving a job, with what you're doing for, your career, your living, or whatever it is you're trying to do. Yeah, I totally get that point. But people are expected, owners and franchise expect people to be loyal to their franchise and their team. The first thing that goes away from that loyalty is when you don't do absolutely everything you can do to make your team, your franchise better. When you don't hire the right people, when you don't draft the right people, you do it for other reasons instead of what you're trying to build for your team. If you pass on this highly rated quarterback because you're not real sure that they're going to be able to make it, and you've got a pretty good quarterback now, and you decide to take an offensive lineman or a defensive end instead.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people get excited real quick about, we got the first pick, and so is the best quarterback, and we're going to do – and then it goes down the toilet bowl. Then you're like, now, wait a minute. What happens if I get, a rush end or a corner or an offensive lineman, and I go to free agency and get these positions that need experience? It's very hard. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating.
Go ahead, G.
See, and that's where the Panthers, and I saw this. There was a guy wearing a when they drafted Bryce Young, there was a guy wearing a C.J. Stroud Panthers jersey, and somebody said, "Can we all check on this guy and see how he's doing?"
Yeah, well, that's not that, but I don't think Stroud wouldn't. This is arguable, but Stroud.
He wouldn't have had the success he had.
No.
Because he didn't have the weapons.
You insert Bryce Young into.
Switch those two. Bryce Young's going to do better, maybe not as good as C.J. Stroud, and C.J. Stroud's not going to do nearly as well as he did at Houston. There's a difference. One of the things that I like, and I've never been in a situation where I've had millions of dollars sitting around and going to make millions of dollars, but I guess I get a little bit confused from the players, and it happens especially in the NBA, that want the max deal that doesn't look at the composition of the team they're going to play with. If I'm making millions, have made millions, and millions to be made in the future, I'm looking for a team that I can get a ring. That's what I'm looking for. Because if I make $10 million less and I've made $150 million, $200 million over my career, what are we talking about? And not be able to win a championship. And one of the things, and I've said this before, I admire Tommy for that because he went to Tampa because he felt like what he wanted to do was win a championship. He could go there and he could get them to a championship. And when he stayed in New England, he took a smaller deal so that he could get other players to help him win.
Restructured contracts. But he also went to an income tax-free state.
Which was a raise.
Let's throw it out there, right? So, I completely understand that, but the guy was with New England for how many ever years it was, 2 decades, and things have run its course. 10 years is time to move on, whatever, but Laney, there's just a lot of we talked about baseball early on about the umpires being involved. the game has caused him to be involved because of all of the little nuances that pop up due to not just focusing on playing the game, but the theatrics of playing the game.
Yeah.
Well, that's what puts people in the seat.
Not everybody.
Well, that I'm not so sure about that.
Now, if I'm going to watch a hockey game, I would like to see a fight or two. But other than that,
Well, I'll go to a fight to watch hockey.
I know. Let me take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver, or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with department staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. Glad to have you here on a Tuesday. A couple things happened over the weekend since the last time we were together. The PGA was held down at Pinehurst number 2. Mm-hmm. And Cowherd made a statement yesterday, and I've got to agree with him, which I do a lot, because I share a lot of his same, I guess, things. Some of them I don't. But it came down to 2 golfers, one from the LIV, one from the PGA, all the way down to the last hole. And here's the deal. Just like he said, just like I said in following players, I follow players because of their game. Mm-hmm. I had no idea which one was PGA and which one was LIV. I watched it. Could care less. Yeah. It was about control was what it was. But it was a great championship. Now, I'll be honest with you. I know that they make it hard, but I thought it was just a borderline on the ridiculous side because you could hit it 5 feet from the pin and, I mean, be sticking it, and it just barely start to roll, and next thing you know, you're in a bunker, you've rolled off the green. It's hard to play on greens that are upside-down bowls.
Yep.
But I've never had a desire to go to Pinehurst and play. Dan Patrick talked about he had played that golf course. He said it is a beautiful thing, but make no mistake, it is a terror.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even if it's not set up for like U.S. Open or a PGA Tour. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the PGA comes to Charlotte next year. I think it's back down at Quail. So that'd be 2 years in a row that they have had major championships in North Carolina. Now, that was a golf course that I wanted to play. Never got a chance to play that, and played Charlotte Country Club. I played Carmel. I've played the TCP at Piper Glen, but never had a chance to play.
I think what we've learned, too, is you need to leave politics out of sports.
Correct.
Because they took, they didn't play it, a few years ago at Quail Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to move it out because of this and because people are like, look, dude.
They don't care.
Moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta, how many jobs it costs people there.
Yeah.
At some point, your narrative does not exactly fit well in my life.
That's right. Yep.
And
it's coming.
Yeah.
Like you say, it's everything's cyclical.
Yeah.
It'll come around
ridiculous.
again. Yeah. It'll come around
again. There's no – people watch this stuff to get away from –
That's right.
The narrative that we always are made to believe is a big deal coming out of, Washington or wherever. And people watch sport or watch their movies or their shows to get away from that. And lo and behold, for 7 or 8 years, if they didn't insert the stuff into your show.
I know.
I just killed your glasses.
You're
sorry.
But
I mean, just
sells them every day.
Just
really cheap.
So what's happened now is we're not hearing any of that stuff anymore, for lack of a better word, and people are actually able to enjoy sitting down and watching it without telling everybody how bad they are or whatever they're doing here. Man, no, let's play football. Let's play golf. Let's play basketball. Let's do our baseball thing. Let's just go out and do what we do. Let's do that.
That's it. G, give me some NFL news. I know you follow it closely.
All right, hold on. So, Jags signed Trevor Lawrence to a 5-year, $275 million deal, making him tied for the highest-paid quarterback in the NFL, tied with Joe Burrow.
What was unique about that? Anything stand out to you or you with that whole Trevor Lawrence thing?
I feel like Trevor doesn't deserve to be paid as high as he was because he hasn't took that next step to
The only problem with that is he has really had some adverse conditions from coaching. His coach gets fired in Urban Meyer and all that kind of stuff. I guess the part that stuck with me is, guess what? You didn't hear about this in the news. I didn't even know it was happening till it happened. Nobody put anything out there. Nobody was whining, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got people that handle that kind of thing. When it was done, that's what Trevor said. Yeah. But most of those contracts that are big-time contracts like that, I can't believe he's become the highest-paid quarterback and nobody knew it till it was over. That's the way you handle those kind of things.
And the Jared Goff contract is pretty much the reason why he got paid. Mm-hmm. And so that leads to the question. If the Cowboys repaid Dak Prescott, how much is he going to get paid when the Kyler Murray contract is
go
over?
through Prescott and check this out. Go through Prescott and Mahomes' stuff that we talked about Saturday. Check this out. Check this out. You want to know? You think Patrick Mahomes might be hyped a little? Before you answer that, listen to this. Go ahead, G.
So they did a comparison on each of the players' stats in their last 50 starts.
I've seen that. Mm-hmm.
So, out of their last 50 starts, and this also includes playoff games, and
those were easy for Dak.
Weren't many.
You're right.
Weren't very many. So Dak Prescott has beat Mahomes in 3 out of the 5 stats that they showed.
Mm-hmm. But the
Mahomes
problem
has more passing yards, one more interception than Dak Prescott does, and has a worse completion percentage.
But here's the thing. When you look at it and compare the two bodies of work, I want to look at the end result.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can – I mean, here again,
So
it's
let's
arguable that Peyton Manning was one of the greatest regular season
Oh, there's no
statistical
doubt.
quarterbacks.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have a ton of – Dan Marino.
Yeah.
That's another one. But never had
greatest-
the end of the year stuff.
I'll go on record. Dan Marino is the greatest quarterback to never win a Super Bowl.
That's very fair.
Yes,
That's
I agree with that
that's
100%.
There's
And
a lot of people that
and
would
he's
agree
still
with
in
that.
the top 10 for passing
Yeah.
yards and touchdowns.
And the bad part about it, there were two other quarterbacks that were on that trail as well, and then they snapped it. And, one of them did in John Elway. Jim
Late
Kelly.
career.
Jim Kelly
That
never
was the
did,
other one.
except he made
Drew
more
Bledsoe.
appearances.
Right.
He made more appearances.
Who was the quarterback for the Bills the years that they made the Super Bowl?
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly.
3 straight, wasn't it? Didn't he lose 3 straight? 4
No,
straight.
4 straight, and
Yeah.
they
4
lost
straight.
them all.
Yeah.
They were the Vikings of the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. And the Fran Tarkenton, was a great
Right.
quarterback as well. The thing that I often think about is if you were to put Dak Prescott with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes with Dallas.
Oh.
Now, again, this is all speculation and what if and all this. But how different would things be?
Well, you don't have to just look at that one. You mentioned somebody. I'll give you 2 more that they switched quarterbacks. Matt Stafford and
Jared Goff.
Both of them struggled with their original teams, flip them, and both of them had success because they had a
highly
different
successful.
environment.
Yeah.
You can't take that away. That's why the Bryce Young, the C.J. Stroud. There's another one. You can't look at it just like that.
Because they have 2 completely different situations.
Yeah, and how
Bryce
they
Young
react
is
to
put
him.
with a bunch
Think
of
about the
soggy
49ers if
napkins.
they had Patrick Mahomes. Or let's just
Oh.
say Dak Prescott. I mean, the only thing that's been holding him back is quarterback. They can't get the quarterback right.
Who's that?
The 49ers.
Yeah, I think they got it right this time.
I
I think
yeah.
their defense.
Yeah,
I think their defense fell subject to.
their defense fell apart once Drake Greenlaw got hurt. And
Actually, I
about
think
it.
offensively was the biggest
And also,
issue.
Party was having a good game, because he had barely any incompletions. He didn't have any interceptions.
Well, this is the issue though.
But-
They kept running toss sweep and McCaffrey, saying, "Well, we're getting 7-8 yards a clip." Yeah, but you're not getting in the end zone, and that was the whole point of the defensive series or philosophy set up by Spagnuolo. It was brilliant because it was bend, don't break.
And another great example of just because you're a great coordinator doesn't make you a great head coach.
Right,
And right there.
boy, that's the truth.
Right there it is.
Wow.
See, and there's a lot of great examples of this. Kyle Shanahan, although he's made it to 2 Super Bowls, he hasn't won either one of them.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, and I'll go back to this again, would he have fired Steve Wilkes if they won the Super Bowl?
No.
I think he would.
Yeah. And
I think he would.
The problem, that's the problem. That's the problem, is most people say that he wouldn't have. You think he would have.
I do.
This is the problem.
I think that was already decided.
Well,
I think what would have happened, Steve Wilkes would have got another offer.
He would have been.
They wouldn't have had to.
Head coaching
No, they
offer
wouldn't.
or put him in the front office.
See, that's what I was thinking. They wouldn't have fired him. He would have gotten an offer.
It's
That's
like
right.
demotion. It's like demotion by promotion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has anybody hired him?
Wilkes.
I don't think so.
I don't know. I just have a hard time believing that they would have survived firing Steve Wilkes if they would have won the Super Bowl based just off of the way that
Steve Wilkes would have been better off to have stayed at Carolina.
Well, that's what I said the whole time. Why are they getting rid of this guy? He's the perfect ambassador.
He's sitting at the house.
And he may be choosing to do that because he's too good at what he does not to have a job somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably choosing to find the right situation. He's really good at what he does.
Well, and sometimes you need to take a little time off and reevaluate and let things play out.
Yeah. Reflection, man.
Yeah. And here's another one that I think will be back coaching before it's all over with is Ron Rivera.
Oh,
he's on the couch too. He's nowhere. It says that he's going to be on ESPN as an analyst.
I think he's going to be on there, which will be phenomenal because he has inside information as a head coach, a coordinator, a player, an assistant coach.
Very knowledgeable.
Oh man, he can look into anything and he can talk to people.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you what.
And I'm going to tell you something. I've met him and actually.
Me too. I've had him for a couple times. Yeah,
and I've actually talked to him. And the thing about Ron Rivera, whether you're talking to him for 30 seconds or 30 minutes, when he's talking to you, he's interested in what you're saying.
Yes.
And he makes you feel like you're the most important person in the world when he's talking to you.
Yeah.
And that is something that you don't see a lot in this world.
Nope. You're exactly right.
See, do you think the Commanders would have been better off hiring Steve Wilkes as their head coach than rather hiring Dan Quinn? Because Dan Quinn has a 46 and 44 win ratio as a head coach. And his most
where is
recent,
he at?
He's in Washington now.
That's right.
And the thing is he came from Atlanta when they had that epic failure in the Super Bowl. But who's the offensive coordinator?
Kyle Shanahan.
They had to run the ball one more time in the third quarter. Game's over. Threw the ball.
Overthought it.
Look at me. I'm smarter than everybody else.
Wonder
insane.
Who made that call.
The offensive
was it Matty Ice? Quarterback didn't have the ability to switch it.
No, Matt.
No, Shanahan is 100% in control of what he's doing. 100%.
Okay.
He runs.
That's why he's 100% accountable for it.
He runs the offense in San Francisco.
Yeah, as the head coach. Yeah.
As a head coach.
Yeah.
Zach Taylor runs the offense in Cincinnati as the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
And
so does Andy Reid, but he does have offensive coordinators. But this is the thing: what does Andy Reid know that those two don't know?
Well,
a lot.
And here's the thing: when it comes to Andy Reid, I'm trying to figure out why he couldn't have the success at Philadelphia, or was it too much control or input from above?
It could have been a multiple things, and it could have been him. And then
because he had one of the greatest defense coordinators there was, Jim Johnson.
Well, but he also had McNabb was such a great quarterback too. Now, but again, it very rarely could have been him.
Mm-hmm.
And when he moved, he had time to reflect and say, you know what, I've got to do this better, or I've got to turn this over, or I've got to be more in charge of this. There's a learning ratio and pattern that happens when you're fully invested into making yourself the best you can be, in reflection and in realism of failures and successes, shortcomings, and things that you're really good at. When you can truly come to an understanding of where you are and where you would like to be, you work on closing that gap a little bit every day so you can get to where you are. You can't do it all at once. I talk to kids that, Gary hears me talk about, the kids in Cherville, during the Legion Ball, they're like, Coach, I want to do this. I'm like, well, this is where you are. And every day you've got to close that gap just a little bit and work on your game to get to where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, I tell our kids that, wherever they are.
Andy Reid.
It's very true. You do that as a head coach, too.
One of the things that Andy Reid has done at Kansas City that you don't normally see is he has not been afraid to let certain players go that he felt like were too expensive for the organization and reallocate those funds and reallocate those positions and bring other players along. What he's done is he is continually rebuilding the team. instead of just holding on. And then when it all falls apart, okay, then we got to rebuild. He is constantly moving pieces around to keep things fresh and keep it going in the same direction.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they released Kadarius Toney.
That's correct.
And who else did they release a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill.
No, they traded.
Well,
Tyreek.
They got him off the roster.
But still, they got him off the roster.
You're 100% right. They traded him. They didn't release him.
That was the actual thing that happened. Right. But what I'm saying is he's not afraid to make roster moves.
Right.
No, he's shipped on L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah.
To the Titans.
But this is the thing. He looks at the value of the position versus the perceived value of the position.
Right.
And he says, Tyreek Hill's really fast, but there's a lot of things that come with this. And the cohesiveness maybe is just not what it needs to be with this guy around. Now, I'm just giving an example. I don't know if that's the case or not. So he says, you know what, I'm going to go find another player that's really fast like that I can do these similar things with. We're going to trade him to this team, get something in return that we feel like we need to make us stronger, and I'm going to go get a fast guy that can do similar things that he can do and get the ball in his hands. What I think Andy Reid doesn't do is he doesn't overthink the wide receiver position.
No. And I don't think any coach should.
Well, no, you're right, but they do.
Let me rephrase that.
CeeDee Lamb and the Vikings wide receiver.
They were world-class sprinter
Jefferson,
speed.
Yeah, all of that.
Tyreek Hill.
Nobody cares because that may win games, but that stuff doesn't win championships.
Yeah.
What wins championships is having a great tight end, all right, or two or three,
having a
good
running
game,
line,
having a good offensive line, and having a defense that you can coordinate with how you do your offense. And San Francisco has done really well with that. All right, and gotten to the Super Bowl, they just haven't won it yet.
Won it.
The part that I think Andy Reid does such a good job at is he is able to complement the offense and the defense together.
Absolutely.
Sometimes I think coaches get, and I think Dallas is notorious for this. Dallas will get top heavy in certain positions and not having enough. But it goes back to I'm still not convinced that Jerry wants to win a championship as much as he wants the relevancy and to keep the organization out front.
You just got to stay relevant.
Yeah.
And in the news, good news or bad news.
Yeah.
Publicity in that arena, any kind of publicity is good publicity.
Yep. I agree.
It's when things are quiet and you don't know anything about them. You're like, wow, they're really good, but I don't ever hear anything about them. That's not the,
Signing 3 running backs and saying we're going all in. Maybe not. They signed Royce Freeman, DJ Dallas, and Ezekiel Elliott. They have done nothing to improve.
Well, I don't understand.
And that supports what you just said. They are more of a brand, not a football team.
Right. You don't see the end result of what they built come to fruition based on the pieces they brought in. Everybody's talking about them, but they're not talking about them for what I consider the right reasons is what they're accomplishing.
Yeah.
With their players.
They're not trying to win a Super Bowl.
I'm gonna tell you, dude,
they're trying to become a bigger brand.
I'm getting Portal like Portal is wearing on me, dude.
But it's going to play itself out.
Yeah, it's wearing on me.
Wait and see.
So and so's going here. They played 2-3 years here. They're coming here. You know what? I got Portal exhaustion.
Well, the biggest thing,
I don't even care. Like I'm getting to the point, Lenny, where I just want to go to a Gardner Webb or Mars Hill or LR football game.
Yeah.
And say, you know what? Let me come watch the players that have been here, whether it's their first year, their fourth year, fifth year. Let me go watch these players that care about where they are and care about what they're doing. Because in the end, especially in football, what is the average life? 3 to 4 years? And then you're done? Man, go have a meaningful experience.
Yep.
2 things. Make sure the environment is good. Okay. Number 2, make sure you are getting an opportunity. Now, that doesn't mean that you play right away, but you're getting an opportunity to, number 1, improve, and number 2, get a chance to show your skills on the field, practice, and then in games. If you can say yes to both of those, all right, then you need to stay and work your tail off. How many players don't get picked up that go in the portal?
A lot.
It's
But there's a reason. There's a reason, and that's what I'm saying. They're coming back to reality. You know what I'm saying? The one thing that I do like the portal for is if you missed on some kids that you signed or they haven't developed as quick as you can kind of supplement that in there. But I think teams have stopped just trying to build it from the portal because it's not working. You still get to build from within, just like baseball. You can't just bring, you just can't bring in the best players every year. You've got to develop players through the farm system.
So there are college coaches, all right, especially baseball. It drives me insane. Got a great player, Hickory, like 13 years ago. He's a great hitter, all right, big-time Division I player. Yeah, but I don't like his body. He's got a bad body. Well, I don't know what the hell that means. It's baseball. What do you mean? Well, yeah, I'm not, So he goes and leads the SoCon in hitting. Goes to Western, leads the SoCon in hitting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean these guys? What the hell does that mean?
Well, some people can't evaluate.
Well, but the thing about it is everything's over analytical.
Yes.
So you need to have the perfect body in order to recruit him to this prestigious school or this school over here that's a little bit higher up on the Division I scale, so I don't get fired. Mm-hmm. Instead of saying, I see where he is. This is where I want him to be. How do I work on that every day to get him here? And how quickly can he get here? Instead of like his body.
But there's people that don't.
Who like Tony Gwynn's body.
But you've got people that do not want to go through that development cycle or development time. So they're in the wrong line of work to me.
Here's the thing.
Go ahead, G.
Here's the thing. They recruited Aaron Judge. He's not super fast.
Right.
I mean, he plays
great
center
athlete,
field.
but left and right, but center
he plays
too. Yeah.
center field.
Right.
It shows that he does on the
right.
roster, but he mostly DHs. He plays center field. He's not the fastest guy.
Right. But he's a great player.
But he is the player that they could use, and he's a great player too.
But the way that you decide whether you want a player on your team, to me, is what is the contribution that they bring, not just to themselves, but what do they bring that may elevate those around them that we don't have now.
And this is the other thing too with the college coaching thing, okay, that drives me insane. I saw it the year that I coached. They all say the same thing.
Yeah.
Every one of them say the
just
same
pat answers.
thing. The ones that don't say those things and repeat the things they've heard, have no idea what the hell they're talking about, are the ones that are extremely successful, like the Mike Roberts, the Coach Pollard at Duke, who was, Pfeiffer, I think, then App State, then to Duke, incredible Scott Forbes. They don't say these little things that you hear out on the recruiting trail, and everybody's saying, well, I don't like this, and I like that, and he's this, and he's that. And you say, well, yeah, but that's the industry. That's what they do. What separates you from everybody else is your ability to see things before they happen and to decipher information and cut through the bullshit, the cut through the crap and say, okay, does this player show the things that I'm looking for what we're trying to do, and how do I close that gap to get him there? Right. The over analytical part of things and the play. There's a kid locally that went to a mid-major Division I school that was overlooked by everybody. All right, he's out of one of our schools in this county, okay, and I'm not going to go names because he's in the portal. And he goes out and has 2 phenomenal years at this Division I university, mid-major, that's hour and so down the road, okay, beats Wake Forest, who was number 1 at the time, I believe, or in the top 3 or 4, whatever. Goes out and gets it done, and all these people overlooked him. Now, he's in the portal now, probably going to make the jump to one of these bigger schools, but that's the problem with the portal. The bigger schools are rewarded for missing on people because they have the resources and the assets available to capture these people after they've done it instead of going out and doing the work. That is where the playing field is not level, and that's what Nick Saban was talking about. that's what Dabo was talking about.
But you don't like it because that kid was missed on and he should have gotten a better opportunity for moving to the portal.
I understand what you're saying, but that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
That's not what I mean. The kid should, but there were things that were in place to allow you to move already. Mm-hmm. All right, now it's used as a means of pay me, show me the money. Mm-hmm. Right? It's not based off of, the kid necessarily trying to better themselves. It's the kid bettering the financial situation. Right? And a lot of people say, yeah, but that's what they should do. And I don't know if that's what intercollegiate athletics was actually set up for.
But okay? I still
that may
like
be where we are, but this is the problem I got, Lenny. The guy that didn't miss on him that went and got the kid, where's the loyalty there? Because the outcome when you go out and beat ACC teams or SEC teams when you're playing at a mid-major, you're pitching against them and wearing their rear ends out on the bump. Okay, you don't think a scout's gonna you don't think he's gonna get popped, based off of what he's showing against those? Actually, in reality, if he goes and doesn't perform as well, what's that going to do now?
Oh, I know.
There's a yin and a yang to everything, and there's a lot of good reasons that people should move. And I got to tell you, if I was in his shoes, I would make the jump and move. But the problem is the things are not sustainable for long-term success. It's everything is right now. Right. And the thing about it is, think back 10 years ago where you were in 2014, and here we are in 2024. Mm-hmm. And if you focused on 2014, you're in the same place you were in 2024.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
What have you done since then?
I guess
T-shirts, radio.
I guess the biggest thing is I'd like a little more detail because I have no problem with kids bettering themselves depending upon what the situation is. We don't always know everything. We don't know the underlying circumstances, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, the flip side to it, too, is the part that you're right about is you just don't, it's like that in the business world, too. Mm-hmm. You start off with a small company. You do really, really well, and all of a sudden a big company comes in and says, hey, we're going to pay you this, and we believe your value is this, so you're moving up. I understand that part. But there's so much disconnect because there's opportunity lost for so many others that are that either outperform or underperform at that time of where you are. The yin and the yang is broken because it's this way. It's 100. It's almost like 100 and 100 instead of 75-75.
Well, that's the way everything is.
100 and 100.
It can't stop in the middle. Yeah.
It needs to be that 75-75 so it swings.
Yeah, that's right.
To keep debate alive and things going. And,
I agree. I agree.
There's no answer to it in the end. I want people to have as much success as they can have. The playing field needs to be, I say level out. It needs to be, comparable where you are set up for success instead of set up for failure. And I'm not so sure that the latter is not what's happening on a broader scale.
Well, that's why I think it all works out, is because that's what happens.
I hope so.
That's what happens. You here Thursday? Have a great day, folks. We'll see you back here again Thursday. Thanks for being here, G.